Well, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it on this last day of school and on one of the few beautiful days we've had this spring. So thank you for your commitment. I really, it does not go unnoticed. And to those online joining us as well, thanks. My name is Jason St. Peter. I am chair of the Monument Building Project. I'm a school committee member from Stockbridge. And this is our fourth community forum. I appreciate everyone who's come. For those who've been to the previous ones, we're going to do a little bit of a repetition at the beginning, but we also have a whole lot of new great graphics, slides, and information for you. So thanks again for coming. The building committee is formed of a lot of community members, administrators, school committee members, teachers, as well as
It's not that frequent.
It's another meeting? Wow.
I thought I did.
Okay, we're good. You can advance. Thanks. We as a building committee, one of the first things we did is we hired an owner's project manager, which is Skanska Design. And then after that, they helped us select our architect, which is a combination of Danisco Design, who's partnered with William Rawn Associates as our lead architects and guiding us in this journey. Next one. So we've been really fortunate to be chosen by the MSBA, which is the Mass School Building Authority. In addition to their knowledge and expertise, they build well over 90% of all public schools in the state of Massachusetts. They also provide us monetary support. They're going to support a new school for over $50 million. It's an extremely competitive process to get into this selection process. You have to demonstrate not just the facility need, but also an educational need for improvements on the building. Monument was one of 10 schools selected in 2022 out of 54. And this process has gotten extraordinarily harder since 2022. We actually were selected, I want to say 13, 14 years ago. And unfortunately, the project did not go through. We've been applying to get in the pipeline ever since then. After 10 years, we finally did. The odds of us ever getting approved by the MSBA and for generations to come is probably as close to zero as possible. I'm sorry.
When you say educational need, what does that mean?
So basically to provide from a vocational support, electric, agriculture, the automotive supplies, that whole thing. And then it's modern classrooms, science lab spaces, extremely below grade. Just the classrooms themselves, a lot of classrooms don't have it. If you took the tours, interior windows, there's no light. The classroom structure itself is not, it was made from a 1940s and 50s educational perspective where there was no collaboration. There was a teacher and then everyone sat in rows, and there's not really the adequate space to have group projects, etc. That's just the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot more to it. But that from this point.
So the expectation is with this physical changes in the building, there would be an improved delivery of education.
Oh, 100%. And the MSBA, again, they're experts. They spend billions of dollars, and they have a litany of people that go through, and they would only support and accept us in the project if we demonstrated the academic needs as well as the building.
They're supplying 50 million.
It's over.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna keep restating your questions just for everyone. So that's okay, that's okay. So the question was that the MSBA is going to fund the project about $50 million. In fact, they're now up to about $61 million
The total gonna be.
in funding. We'll get to that. You're gonna spoil it for everyone. Well, I know, thank you. Yes, we have a whole section to talk about the cost and how we're trying to manage the cost.
Great, thank you. So there's different modules when you team up with the MSBA, and there's module 1 and 2. You can see eligibility period, forming a team, which we did. Module 3, feasibility study, and right now we're at the schematic design. where we're actually seeing what exactly a new building would look like, how it would help us. And, you know, I don't want to go too long because we have a lot of great slides and great information to get to that. But that's basically where we're at. Next step would be the funding, which is a vote November 4th for the communities to decide if they want to fund this project, and we'll go forward from there. So again, Monument, what we need, there's broad consensus that we need an updated school. You know, this was realized 15 years ago. You know, the school, again, was created in the late 50s, early 60s, educational model, opened during the 60s. For the first 30 or 40 years, you know, it served its purpose, but it's come to the end of its life cycle, both from a mechanical point of view, structurally, as well as educationally. It does not meet our current educational needs. It limits our ability to support high quality learning. And it's the only high school in Berkshire County that's been built, was built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, that has not been either completely renovated or replaced. There's in Williamstown, Mount Greylock had a complete renovation as well as a significant addition. Wacona in Central Berkshire has a completely new school, and Taconic High School in Pittsfield has a completely new school. Those are the other schools built during this time period. This school right now is not a reflection of who we are. Again, it's an aging facility that has exceeded its useful life, and to continue to invest in this outdated building with limited educational benefits is just a bad return on investment. And we've really come to the point, and again, there's all this information online. I'll be happy to talk with you after, but we've come to the point where this building has gotten to the end of its useful life. And to just fix up this building to basically get a new HVAC, new roof, bring it up to code. The price there is basically the same as if we've just built a new school. Again, we can talk about that after if you want it. And with that, so that's where we are now. I'm going to hand it off to Christopher Barnes, the principal of Monument, to talk about the needs of all learners. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Christopher Barnes, principal of Monument here. Just been here. This is my first year here. First of many, I hope. So we have meeting the needs of all learners. Jason spoke a little bit about that. As he said, this building has served our community well. But we understand and we know that we can do better meeting the needs of all learners moving forward. The new building, strong academic spaces, which means such as updated science labs, providing the technology and the space needed to deliver the programming our students need for the future. This includes, Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, the footprint of a typical classroom is bigger, according to MSBA regulations, than what we have right now. And that's one of the things Jason was talking about. All classrooms will be new and meet today's standards and have dimensions and technology required by today's standard, as well as natural light. We have several CBTE programs right now, but with a new building, we would be offering electrical as well. So we would have all new CBTE spaces plus an electricity program. And I don't know, just for one little snapshot, those of you who have ever seen our auto program, which is fantastic. Christinella does amazing work there, but it's really tight and it really requires a lot of upgrade. So that's what he'd be able to do, what we'd be able to do for our students with a future automotive program would be fantastic. So as I said, we'll be adding to our career technical opportunities with electricity. Each of these programs will have the space and technology to meet our students' needs and to provide them with a great education. This also goes for the innovation pathways, like the CBTE spaces. These spaces will also provide the needed space and technology to best serve our students. We have a lot of good machines that we would bring over in our innovation pathways, but we also would need some upgrades in space and other equipment. Commitment to the arts, music and drama. Obviously, we're very committed to the arts here at Monument Mountain. In the new building, our commitment to the arts, music and drama continues. We spent considerable time and conversation with the teachers, technology specialists, and others to ensure that the new design has the space and the resources to continue to improve our commitment to the arts and to provide the best that we can for all of our students. We'll also have dedicated and upgraded spaces for PE and wellness. We have some really outdated spaces here, some which are not really functional. There's a small sort of fitness room behind the gym. Our locker rooms are really bad shape. Imagine teenagers in the locker rooms for 50 years. There's at least a small impact there. And then programs to meet the specialized needs of all students. Through all that we've described, we are considering all of our students and how to best meet their needs. This building is done well. We're still producing amazing students. They're going to amazing places, but we know that there's going to have to be an investment, and we're looking to the future for what we can provide for them. So, thank you. I think that's my only slide.
Yeah, it is, it is. We're having a little bit of a technical problem. See, there we go. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name's Donna Denisco, and just to introduce my team, we have Jeff Oxalita and Annie Jonick, and we have a bunch of folks online, but we are the combined design team. And we just want to say that we started this process. I just want to make sure I'm positioning myself. Probably it's been a year and a half ago, and it has been wonderful getting to know you. And it was really important to understand what was important to you. This is a design that meets your goals, your educational goals, your needs, and that will support you and generations to come for many, many years. We spent a lot of time really understanding what was driving the new school. And what we arrived at through a lot of visioning sessions, and some of you look very familiar, and we thank you for participating and coming along on this journey so far, is that from an educational perspective, it was really important to integrate the CVTE, the Career Voc Tech spaces, into the core academic spaces. Right now, they're isolated, they're sort of appendages to the building, and everyone should have equal opportunities and get people excited, because what you offer from a career tech programming is amazing. And we want to get everyone excited about these programs. Cross-disciplinary connections, similar to the career tech, making these spaces flexible and adaptable, right? As education evolves, we want to make sure that the building can evolve and adapt with you. And then, of course, designing to accommodate future technological advances. And then this building will be an incredible, sustainable building that we really want to engage and get the students involved in and understand what it means to be sustainable, champion for climate control as we look to the future, their future, our future. Other aspects that were really important: health, safety, and welfare. Safe and welcoming arrival, creating a healthy and safe learning environment that provides a sense of belonging was equally important. You've walked through the school. We're in probably the hub of the school. This library is amazing. Kara does amazing things with this space. No windows, right? No views. You leave here you come in at 8 in the morning. In the wintertime, you leave at 4 o'clock at night, and you have no idea if it's day or night. So a lot of natural light and connections to the outdoors was very important. And then again, use of natural directly and in nature, directly and indirectly. And you'll see with the compact footprint how we've been able to take advantage of some of the outdoor spaces for educational purposes. And then community use. This is a community asset, and it's really important that we open it up to the community. We've designed it in such a way that it could be used for community events, obviously with the auditorium, with the gymnasium. We have alternative PE spaces, but there's been actually forward thinking about, can we start now offering community programs at night? We'll have fully air conditioned. We won't be in a stuffy space like this. That will allow the community to really benefit from the program and from the building. Enduring. Yes, it needs to be beautiful, but it needs to be a sound investment. We've had many subcommittees participate in this conversation to date. It needs to be cost effective. It needs to be durable. It needs to last for at least 50 years. Our goal is always 50 plus years, 75 years. And so we've been very thoughtful about the types of materials that we're selecting, both from an affordable perspective as well as a durable perspective. And then it needs to be easily maintained. So not only do we look at what we're designing and putting on the exterior of the building, but also what is included on the inside of the building. And my technology is not working, so there you go. From a sustainability perspective, the state is driving a lot of sustainability decisions as we make day in and day out in our lives, but it was really important that we think about the future for this building as well. It will be an all-electric building. We will utilize ground source heat pumps. I know you're familiar, also known as geothermal, similar to what you have here in the district, but this is a updated technology and newer versions of the geothermal. It was important to make sure that we reduce our carbon emissions and embodied carbon and create a healthy indoor environment. So what you'll see is that we have already registered with LEED. If people are familiar with the LEED program, we are targeting to be LEED Gold certified, which is really impressive to be able to take this very large building and make it a LEED certified gold building. We're tracking energy use to be very, very low, 25 EUI energy use. And you'll see standard baseline schools in Massachusetts are, in the 60s and 40s. So we are tracking and making sure that every decision we make is also a good decision as it relates to sustainability. Why is this important? Coming in at about 25 EUI or energy use will allow us to have the building be net zero ready, meaning with the canopies that could be added in the parking lot and solar rooftop units, you could actually generate enough energy on the property, both the parking lot and the building, so that it will produce enough energy that you won't need to purchase energy. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sure.
to-
That's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, no, I
Please.
didn't, you kind of answered the question. So that would reduce the cost of maintenance
So
compared to now?
it would reduce the cost of operating expenses.
Yeah.
So the question was, making it net zero, what does that do? Basically, you would not have to pay for your electricity, right? And we will not have oil because it will be an all electric building, but that's a significant savings.
How much, how much?
How much would we save in operations?
Probably about 200,000 a year.
That's exactly what I was
Okay,
saying, about
200,000.
200,000 a year. So what is not included in the project are the panels, the solar itself. We are looking at grants, we're looking at ways, whether you purchase the panels and the canopies yourself or enter into an agreement with a third party who also could provide the solar panels. You don't get the full benefit of them, but it would reduce your operating and your operating costs significantly. We could spend all day on this, and actually I want to do a shout out to our sustainability subcommittee, who's been very much involved in the process as well. Guys, I think we're just advancing by our hands. So we actually started back in February. We wanted to test the ground to make sure that it would be able to accommodate ground source heat pumps or geothermal. We drilled one well. I don't know if as anyone drove by, you'll see these were massive rigs that were on the site in February. And we're really excited to say that the conductivity of the wells is allowing us to do this and it will be successful. Not every site can accommodate this ground source heat pumps, but you can see what you're seeing, all the dots here represents about 110 wells is what we're anticipating needing. We have one drilled, so now we need 109. I feel like 99 bottles of beer on the wall, sorry.
Are you gonna tell us where the new school would be located?
Yep, right here. So, this is a site plan of the proposed new school. Thank you. We have the wells being drilled in the existing practice field right at the bottom. This is Stockbridge Road, Monument Valley Road. We'll be putting the wells indicated in the field. Once they're drilled, they'll be covered up and that field will become available for use. The new school, I'm gonna just jump to this slide. The new school is going to be located, you can see the dotted red line, that's your existing school. Right, if you can see it. We're gonna be building it directly in front of it, to the west of it, building it into the hill to take advantage of the topography to help reduce the costs. It will be a 3-story building on one side, 1.5-story building on the front side. And we'll show you some renderings. There are some renderings over there, but we have some renderings that will be easier to explain as we go through it. Again, our goal from a cost perspective was to utilize as much as we possibly could with your existing attributes on the site. We are going to maintain the existing parking lot. We'll build the building in front of the existing building, which will remain in operation while the new school is being built. And once the new school is built, we'll move everyone in, demolish the existing building, and then we'll be able to actually put another practice field in its place. We have spent a lot of time working with your first responders, your police, your fires, state troopers, and the school department, of course, to make sure that we could improve upon your site circulation, your internal site circulation. We're continuing conversations with Department of Transportation as we're talking about the entrance of the school. So for now, what we're doing is we're trying to find ways to really reduce the traffic congestion that occurs on site. So we have now 2 means of egress onto the site, right? We have blue are for passenger vehicles going to the parking lot or parents dropping off. We even have a pull-off area for students that require additional time for arriving and departing during the day, so they won't interrupt or be interrupted. And then off of Monument Valley Road, we have a bus drop-off loop, which will be totally separate and isolated from the passenger vehicles. And what that does is what gets really backed up right now is the buses and cars are all trying to funnel through the main entry. By removing and having the buses actually enter and exit off of Monument Valley, it really reduces that congestion off of Stockbridge Road, or actually exiting the site. We'll have lots of parking areas. You can see the numbers of parking, but also important is we have our early childhood program that requires dedicated parking for this parents to bring their children to school every day. We have parking here for them. And we have the automotive program, which also is what we call public facing program, where people, the community members will actually be bringing their vehicles to be serviced by the students, and they'll have dedicated parking directly outside of their parking. I could spend hours on this, but I'm going to keep going so we have. This is probably a little prettier to look at, but we also thought a lot about how the site, the reduced building footprint, and how can we really take advantage of the site. And we spent a lot of time again with the school department and Christopher and his team. We'll have areas for outdoor learning. We'll have an art courtyard right outside of the art classrooms that they'll be able to take the program and expand it to the outdoors. We have an area for cafeteria seating outdoors. Couple of things that maybe we benefited from COVID was everyone actually went outside and actually started eating and actually enjoy being outdoors. So we want to continue and support that. We have the horticulture program now built in to the building itself, so kids don't have to go to the bottom of the hill to these old buildings, that they have a state-of-the-art lab in the building itself with a new greenhouse. So we also will have areas for outdoor learning, for science labs, for science classrooms, horticulture. We'll talk about, are there other opportunities on site? The full site will be accessible. Right now, your site is not accessible for anyone even coming from the main parking lot. So we'll have pass and pedestrian accesses as well as it being fully accessible. Right, guys, you're seeing this, right? You're seeing the struggles. Here is the view, do a quick review of the, thank you. I'm a helper, of the floor plan, and we'll just try to walk through it quickly. We're really here to hear from you tonight, so bear with me, stop me if you need a little more clarification, but the school is gonna be a 3-story school facing Monument, facing Stockbridge Road. But the main entrance is going to be on the middle floor, which we're calling the ground floor. So you enter on the middle floor, and this is the driveway coming up. The parking lot is over here to your left. The main drop-off area for parents and buses are along this axis up here that you can see. We have the main office being located at the very entrance of the building, no longer, I don't, for anyone that took a tour, you probably had no idea where the main office was, right? So we'll have the main office that will be at the front of the building. It will be a secure double locked vestibule to make sure that people that should be coming in have been vetted before they're just allowed to come into the building. Main administration will be located here. And on this main floor, it was really important to provide all the community spaces. We have the auditorium right in the center, adjacent to the gymnasium in red. We have the PE alternatives, which will be a weight room, fitness center, and could also be used for community access. We have our chorus, band, and piano theory classrooms adjacent to the auditorium, obviously for those connections. And then the automotive, as I was pointing out, needs a public facing access to the driveway, which will also be located here, share with the new electricity CVTE program, career tech program. We have the classrooms grouped to provide that flexibility, as we were talking about, as Christopher was saying. These classrooms will be flexible, they'll be interchangeable. So we have grouped our classrooms, those are in purple, and with at minimum of 4 classrooms grouped together, as well as special education spaces, so those are integrated. And we also have a series of science labs as well. Oh, it worked, you scared it. Right, there you go. Okay. If you go up one level, we have several accesses. We have a stairs at each end of the building, one here. We go back, we also have an elevator. I always forget. We have an elevator that is centrally located as well that will take you obviously to the second floor or to the ground floor. If we go up one level, and you'll see some renderings that will just make a lot more sense, but again, clusters of classrooms of 4 with support spaces for those students. And the main hub of the second floor is going to be the media center or the library. It will be light, bright, accommodating, flexible. You can move the stacks around. And we know so much more happens in a library these days than just checking out books and studying. If we go down one level from the middle floor, you'll have great views overlooking, this is the western face, this is the hill that is the sledding hill right now, be overlooking Monument Mountain. Spent a lot of time trying to make sure the spatial relationships and adjacencies work for these programs. We have the art classrooms that work closely with consumer science, advanced manufacturing. They'll have direct access to this patio area outside so they can take their work and continue outdoors. The cafeteria is sort of the hub of the ground floor level, with everyone being able to come outside during lunch. And then this 3 classrooms here round off all of your science labs. And the agriculture program is with the science labs, and the greenhouse is located directly next to it. And you can see we were really, really thoughtful about the placement of programs. Every single classroom will have windows. Everyone is going to have natural light, great views. And we were very thoughtful about what you're seeing as brown is what we call service areas. These are the mechanical rooms, the storage, the receiving. Those spaces don't require natural light. And we're taking advantage of the topography of the hill so we could reduce site costs. Andrew, thank you. I think it's working, but the year.
So I was gonna share some exterior views of the building. First of all, I want to thank the exterior design subcommittee and the school building committee. It was a great collaboration. Both of our firms working with these groups. There's a lot of feedback over several months. So that's what you'll see here. One of the goals, or one of the major goals, to make the high school welcoming to all, using warm materials. You know, really trying to, as you approach it from Stockbridge Road, or when you come up to the drive, making the entrance intuitive. This is a view from the northeast, looking at that main entrance. We work to focus a lot of making that entry transparent and open. So much of the glazing or the glass was placed at that main entrance, and you'll see in a moment on the other side with views of Monument Mountain, which you can see in the back of this rendering or the distance. Just for reference, the elementary schools off and the middle school are off in the left corner.
There's a pointer.
Yes.
Okay,
And then this is as Donna described, the field to be relocated. So it will actually be closer to the existing playing fields. This is a view from the southeast. Here you can see the drive coming up from Monument Valley Road and the existing greenhouses. These are where the buses will queue up. On this side, you can see the automotive CTE program. They have some parking spaces here. That's the main school entrance. This is a view down at driveway level, looking at the main entry. It's welcoming. There's a bench, quite a bit of open space when the students are dropped off. To the left are the music spaces. Again, Donna said it's about a story and a half on this side of the building.
Andy, may I, there's a question, hand raised online.
Yes.
So if they can hear us, Brian, maybe you can unmute them and they can ask their question.
Hi, Sam Ernston, Great Barrington, Division Street, and a teacher at the middle school. What is the benefit of building into the hill?
You're on it. Go for it. Sure. Thank
Benefit
you.
Building into the hill, it's a compact site. One thing it allowed us to do is to maintain the existing parking lot, reducing cost for site development. There's also, there's great views. The parking will be, and that field will be behind the building. So it is closer to Route 7, Stockbridge Road. But some of that you'll see in a moment, some of that hillside will be maintained, but I would say that, really one of the major reasons why it's built into the hill was cost, allowing the, existing parking lot to.
And school during construction.
Yes, and-
Yeah. Does that answer your,
Yes.
the least disruptive?
And Sam, one more thing, because the other new building was on where the current parking lot is. So that would be more money. I think it was like a couple $1 million more, but also the vast majority of the teachers at Monument chose this design and felt this was better and was their first choice. So we really went off the teachers, heavily off the teachers' desires. Thank you for your question.
It's the view of the building as you enter off of Stockbridge Road. This is the northwest view. There's early childhood education and entrance here. You can see just beyond the landscaping, a few cars. That driveway goes up around, and the main school entry is up here. This is a hardscaping that wraps around to the west side, and that outdoor art space down on this drive. This is the view up the driveway. The greenhouses are, whoever's taking this photograph or this rendering, the greenhouses would be behind you, looking at the cafeteria and the library above it. As I mentioned, placed, you'll see in a moment, the focus of that western facade really is the heart.
Speak into the.
The heart of the school, right in the center, where the library and the cafeteria are located. You can see the greenhouse off to the right here. This is just getting closer. There is topography out here. About half the hill that's out there today will remain about 15 feet. Landscape design does include some mounding here. Again, that's a design feature, but it also allows us to keep some of the soils on site. Again,
So
reducing
that's what
costs
you see from the road.
from
Right, I see.
the new drive on the right side of
Bus
the
drive.
building. Yeah,
The
the
bus
bus drive, as we pass the greenhouses, the existing greenhouses. And then this is a west aerial, and the drone, if you will, is hovering above Stockbridge Road, looking at the library cafeteria in the center, and you can see that terrace where students, staff can break out, get outside. You'll see the facade is crenellated there. We call those the sawtooth windows. The reason for that is they are facing Monument Mountain. There's a direct view out of those bay windows when you're inside looking at.
I have one question. So the main entrance is on the opposite side of that?
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing I'll say is that it's a 3-story building. So part of the design intent was bringing the scale down. So that's why you'll see the 3rd floor has dormers. There's a continuous eave that's just above the 2nd story. That is continuous at the ends of the building. That's where the gables are. That kind of welcoming face as you approach the building. You have a question? Yes.
So my question is, in the cafeteria, will there be a dishwasher opposed to like paper trays?
I think, is that a sustainability question? Good for you. So the question was if there's gonna be a dishwasher in the cafeteria or in the kitchen as opposed to paper throwaway trays and food. So we are providing for a dishwasher as part of the project. It will be there. Now, we don't know for sure if it will be no paper reuse when we first open it, but we're studying all of that. But there is going to be a dishwasher for that purpose.
Good question.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you.
Hand it off. Oh, we have another.
Yeah.
As far as, excuse me, athletic facilities are concerned, you haven't given any consideration to a hockey rink, have you?
The question was if we gave any consideration to a hockey rink.
Seriously, there's a great shortage in Berkshire County of hockey rinks. And a hockey rink can pay for itself because you rent it out to the speed skaters and the figure skaters and just the general recreational users.
So to answer the question, a hockey rink was never part of any conversation. You're actually the first time we've ever heard that there was an interest for a hockey rink.
Well, I can see that you didn't consider it. I'm just suggesting that maybe that was unwise.
Oh,
Because
well,
there is great need for more hockey rinks in Berkshire County, because there are hardly any.
thank you. We are limited in scope for getting support through the Mass School Building Authority. We're not allowed hockey rinks. We're not allowed swimming pools. We're not allowed. Yes, their focus, Mass School Building Authority, $61 million worth of grants to us, wants to focus on education, and we could have that conversation all.
Have a gymnasium.
Well, because
Basketball.
right, and there's physical education components. There are you know, the state actually has, you have to achieve so much PE in order to graduate. So, but their focus is solely, mostly, I shouldn't say solely, on educational components, and, you know, their investment is in education. So it was not a consideration. So I apologize. Yes, in the green. So
What is the capacity of the current building? What are you confident with the building? The number of kids.
number of students. So the current school population is 435.
Yeah, but his question was capacity of everybody. I don't know what.
I know there was over 700 kids here for many years, so I think it was built for over 700. The new one's built for 485, so about, you know, maybe about half, a little more than half of the current building. Now, the educational specifics and requirements that the MSBA requires makes the actual size of the school probably equal. If we were to build a school for the same amount of kids now that we did in the 1960s, it would be double this, double this school, double
You're
that.
saying that the square footage in this new building is roughly the same.
It's more.
It's, I think a little bit more actually. It's
Yeah.
more because of the, obviously the CVTE program, the garage base for the automotive program, the science labs require a lot more building, the breakout spaces, and just, this school is not ADA compliant.
Right.
So ADA compliancy has really increased the necessary size. And again, this is, you know, completely at the state regulates this, and the MSBA, if you want your their $61 million, they kind of dictate the size of the classrooms, everything. But that's a good question, but yeah.
Yeah, so to put it a little in perspective, the current classrooms are about 725 square feet each. Very, very difficult to provide instruction the way current education is delivered these days. The new school, the classrooms will be 825 square feet, and the science labs will be 1,440 square feet, which is much larger and much more flexible than what you have. So when you look at what you currently have and the deficiencies of the individualized spaces is what we were saying, right? If you took the model and the number of spaces you have here today and brought them up to today's current guidelines for education, it would probably be double the size of what we're.
We have another online question.
Okay,
If
yeah.
Brian, you could unmute them. No, I don't think it's Abby. I think it's the one with the hand up. PL Sun.
Yeah. Hi, this is Lenore Sundberg calling in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just was curious about the roofing, what the roof is made of, and whether if they look flat. And having been on the school committee back in the day, one of our main concerns then it was the fact that the roofs were leaking, and I was wondering how this design accomplishes the goal of not having leakage issues.
The majority of the. Do I need to?
Yeah. Did everyone hear the question? Yeah.
Yes.
The majority of the roof is a low slope roof, so it'll be internally drained. It's built up of many layers of insulation, and it's tapered to slope towards the drain. It's a conventional membrane roof that you see on many large buildings throughout the state, throughout the country.
So it's not a flat roof.
It appears flat, right? It really appears flat, but we have drains that internal that will slope, the roof will slope, the drains will be there to collect. So it's not like it's just gonna pond or you're gonna have problems. Even when we had that, gosh, I think it feels like not too long ago, but when all the snow, right? With the snow drifts and everything. So we now account for all of that from a seismic perspective, so the roof can accommodate it, but also the roof slopes very slightly. So it is not a flat roof. It appears.
It doesn't slope enough.
It slopes enough.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The
Yeah.
saying always was a flat roof will eventually leak. All flat roofs eventually leak. And the reason that the building authorities didn't allow pitched roof, if you have a pitched roof, that means you have an attic. And if you have an attic, you store stuff up there, and that's the fire hazard.
And you're also
We have
heating
no
an attic,
issues.
right, right.
Yeah.
But with you know, quotation mark, flat roof also allows for us to be able to put solar panels on the roof as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. We have,
There are,
um,
sorry, Donna.
that's okay.
Just answer that comment. There are, when you look at the ends, there are the end elevations do have a pitch, but you know, as you can see, that the depth of that is, it's not that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have to say, in terms of flat roofs, as architects, we have become geniuses in flat roofs. They don't make any more, we really work at it with the new technology, so. I used to also be afraid of flat roofs, I do them all the time now.
awesome.
Quite nice at night. But I do have a question about LEED. Are you being required by the MMRHS to be the?
Yes, so, the cost for LEED, to register for LEED is like $2,000.
I know the work. Anyway.
Yeah, so the certification itself is a little bit more, it's negligible. All of the services related to it and getting all of the points is part of our basic fees, so we're not looking for any additional money, but the Mass School Building Authority does want it to be LEED registered. They're very, and it has to be LEED Silver certified, and right now, based on the design and all of the sustainable elements, which are, we're doing this, it's part of our design, and we're not adding features or spending money just to achieve a LEED point. They're very strategic in what we do. A lot of it focused on energy and indoor environmental quality. Yeah, thank you. Did you, I don't know if you have, no, okay, sorry.
Oh, yes, in the beginning, there was some consideration that there might be as many as 6 licensed boat tech programs, and it sounds like maybe there's less now, but I was wondering, about how many they are expected to be, and what they are. And the second is there room or accommodation in the design that might be able to increase the number of licensed?
Yes, so when we started the project, we had in the school 2 Chapter 74 vocational programs, and they were the horticulture and the automotive. A couple of years ago, our early childhood program moved up to that standard. So now we've got 3 active programs. The plan is to add a 4th one, which is the electricity program. And then we're sort of limited by space. We also have all these pathways. So there's a health career one, there's an advanced manufacturing one, and a business one.
Yes.
Right. So those are the pathways. So the Chapter 74 or the platinum standard, most rigorous CVTE programs. The pathways afford a little more flexibility, and we have a lot of those, but we don't in the current plan have space to add a 5th vocational program. And I think we found the right balance of the number of programs based on the need in our community and the surrounding communities.
I think we have a question. Would you mind, Victoria?
Yes, I'll read it. From Zach Colbreth. Can you tell us what the capacity of the new auditorium will be and what the capacity of the current auditorium is?
So the capacity of the new auditorium will be 453. I think we're saying 450 seats. The existing one is approximately 500 seats, so it will be slightly less. And you'll see, for anyone that took the tour, right, your existing auditorium doesn't quite meet accessibility codes and a whole other bunch of requirements that if we had that same size today, it would actually be less than what we're showing here. And we have some renderings for that. Was there another
There's
question?
just one comment. Rachel D says monument community, can we please let presenters finish and ask questions during
Oh.
Q&A?
Oh,
Does the auditorium have stage?
yes,
Yeah.
and we'll show you. We've got, yes, and we have some wonderful renderings. So, who is that? Who is that on?
Rachel D.
Rachel. Okay, well, we're getting close.
Good segue, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Don't
And
get
Jeff,
too far.
because we're gonna talk into the. Okay.
Alright, great. So we have some initial views of the interiors of the building as well. Now, the final materials and colors would be determined during the construction documents process, but we've made some initial selections just to kind of convey a flavor of all these different spaces. So this is a view of the main lobby looking back out through the main entrance of the building. There's the main vestibule looking back out towards the parking lot. So to the left of it would be the general office and administration area. And then to either side of it would be some additional administrative support spaces. This space kind of down on the left-hand side of your screen is the guidance office and career center. And then you'll notice that this is a two-story space. And throughout the building, we've tried to use two-story spaces to establish some visual connections between different program elements. Unlike the current high school, where if you're in a space, the only thing you can really see is corridor. So in order to make this building, which is slightly larger than the existing school, feel a little bit smaller, create a sense of intimacy, we've tried to establish as many visual connections as possible where we can. So above this would be one of those clusters of 4 general classrooms. If we're going to turn around 180 degrees and look back out to the west, this is the view out towards that double height glass that we saw on the exterior elevations. So down on this first floor is the upper cafeteria. Above it is the media center, and that's really the focal point of this long lobby here. To the left of it is the auditorium space. So this long lobby is doing a lot of different jobs. It has the ability to serve as gathering space before, after, during functions in all of these kind of big public spaces throughout the building. No seats in the hallways? I'm sorry? No seating in the hallways? Again, these are initial, the question was, there's no seating in the hallways. So these are some initial views to kind of get a feel of the space. We still have furniture selection to do. There will obviously be some sort of seating near the main entrance to accommodate visitors as people are waiting to come in or out of the general office. Everything might not be represented here yet. So this is going a little bit further into the lobby. You can see this is one of the walls of the auditorium off to the left. So it's kind of this forum and this main street as the hub of the school with these big public spaces off of it.
And I would just like to say, intentionally, you're seeing some blank walls. And those are really for student art, or it could be environmental graphics or environmental art. We haven't gotten there yet, but there was a really strong desire, right, to showcase all of your students' work. So what you're seeing in some of those blank walls is where we envision all of the beautiful student art. Can we take a question from the front, if that's okay? Sure.
So will there be lockers?
The question was, will there be lockers? Wait 1 second, you'll see. Thank you.
Not sure we're showing any lockers.
Oh, there aren't any lockers?
We're currently planning for 500 lockers throughout the school. They'll be the size of the newer, larger lockers that are currently installed at Monument. So there will be a locker for every student.
And they're not gonna be those little skinny lockers that you can't fit your lunch, let alone your backpack in.
There's a question online from Abby Schroeder. Is a medical facility included, and are we considering an elevator at the east and west end, and will there be wheelchair accessibility?
Thank you. So if everyone heard the question, We do have a nurse's suite, a medical suite as part of the main administration area at the entrance of the school. We are currently having one large elevator that is centrally located. It's pretty close to there that will obviously access all 3 floors, and it will have an additional stop right to the second floor, the mezzanine level of the auditorium.
This another view of the kind of the upper level of that 2-story space. So you kind of start to see the volumetric relationship between all these spaces with each other. You can see the lockers. I was wrong. So what we've tried to do strategically throughout the building is locate the lockers close to the general classrooms. And then we've also tried to locate the lockers on one side of the corridor only, everywhere. So kids aren't back to back bumping into each other where they're trying to access their lunch and their books and their backpacks and all that. So that will hopefully help to create a little bit more spaciousness throughout the building. So this is a view of the auditorium. Similar to the existing monument auditorium, you enter on the cross aisle. So we'll enter kind of at the middle of the auditorium with seats down to the left and up to the right. The main difference is that there's now a mezzanine level on both sides. That's to kind of increase capacity within a compact footprint, and then also provide a sense of intimacy within that space as well, get more seats closer to the stage. This is a view from the back of the house at a performance in progress. You can see the mezzanine on the right and the left. The auditorium will have all modern controls, modern lighting controls, auditorium sound systems, etc. And this is a view from the stage looking back out to the house. The stage will be at the same level as the surrounding program. So those music classrooms that Donna mentioned that back up to the stage. And then when you enter on the cross aisle, anyone would be able to access the stage without needing to go up or down a ramp or stairs.
So do you want to go back and just show people where the orchestra pit is?
Sure. One other feature that we're including in the auditorium is this area off to the side that can be configured in a multitude of ways. You can configure it with seats if you have something like a lecture or a town meeting, or if you have a musical, those seats can be taken out and a small orchestra can set up there to provide live music to a performance. And that's in lieu of a pit in the middle of the front of the stage. And that's to just get better seats closer to the stage. This is a view of the cafeteria standing down on the ground floor. That 2-story window wall is located off to the left of the screen here. There will be doors located along that wall, so events can spill out to that great outdoor patio space that we saw on the aerials. Towards the back of the image is a stair going back up to the main lobby. And then off to the right-hand side of the image on the first floor is the servery. So that will be the kitchen, and those doors will all slide open during service. There will be a series of small group rooms located up on the first floor. And what we've done again with this double height space is we've created sight lines and communication between the visual communication between the different spaces. By buying that large window wall there, we're really squeezing as much value out of those windows as possible. So these spaces that are internal, like those small group rooms, even the kitchen that wouldn't normally have access to natural daylight or views, would now have access to those views. This is a view of the media center. So this is on the second floor looking out. This is that Monument Mountain view. The center of the room would all be flexible furniture, flexible bookcases, flexible tables to be configured however it would need to be programmed. There's an area down similar to this setup, which would be similar to a typical classroom with some small group rooms on either side. This is a view of the proposed gymnasium. The gym is based off of the existing Monument Mountain Gym. With a large central port, some side ports, and additional provisions for additional sports such as baseball, wrestling, and volleyball in the gym. The most noticeable difference is the inclusion of some clear story windows around the perimeter, which will give this space access to natural light.
It's the same size.
The court is the same size, yes.
But the seating's a lot better.
This is a view of the automotive shop. The new automotive shop will have capacity for up to 4 vehicles. And the big thing in there is that the height will be appropriate for the vehicle lifts. So they're not banging into the underside of the structure like they currently do.
Oh.
You'll notice off to the right, there's a small shared teaching space, and that will be shared between the electricity shop and the automotive shop.
And there's gonna be electric vehicle service.
Oh, yeah.
The far end, so.
Yeah, we're also providing provisions for an electrical vehicle charging station within the space. So that can be incorporated into the academic program. This is a couple of views of one of the proposed science classrooms. In the proposed science classrooms, most of the fixed furniture is around the perimeter of the room, and that will include storage and sinks and power and data and gas connections. And then really the interior of each of the classrooms will be able to be programmed for whatever science program occupies that space. And then one of the general classrooms, all of the general classrooms will now have access to outdoor views and natural light. Typically, the classrooms will accommodate 24 students in chairs and desks. There'll be 2 teaching walls, one of which will include an interactive projector and whiteboard. And then each classroom will have a small storage area that can be used to store teaching materials.
Stop. Okay, you're good. Yep, great. Thank you. So we know, people wanted to know how much, right? This has really been an evolution from when we started back in, almost a year ago. We started what we call preliminary design, which was really basically understanding your program needs, the overall gross square footage as it relates to the Mass School Building Authority's guidelines, and general concepts and understanding of the site. So in July of 2024, the total project cost was about $180 million. The Mass School Building Authority was contributing $51.5 million of that. You'll see a consistent line item for Mass Save. I don't know if anyone knows Mass Save, but they'll even come to your house and they'll do energy audits and all of this other great stuff. Well, they too also want to see a energy efficient building. So they are contributing about $1.5 million for the ground source heat pumps and just being an incredibly energy efficient building. So your local share back in July of 2024 was approximately $126 million. Some decisions have been made, obviously, over time, as we spent a lot of time saying that's too expensive. What can we do to reduce the overall cost? So between July of last year and when the preferred solution, this new 3-story building built into the hill, our preferred solution, there was discussion about the construction delivery method. There are 2 ways to do it. I'm going to try to keep it really high level, but ultimately the building committee collectively with your consultant team, the Skanska, the owner's project manager, and the design team felt that we can do a traditional, we're going to design it, we're going to build it, and then we'll let the lowest responsible bidder, the lowest responsible contractor, get awarded the project. And that actually saved quite a bit of money, but it didn't end there. We spent a lot of time talking about placement of different aspects of the site, of the building, of the materials, And back in December, the cost was $455 million. MSBA's participation or share went up because of various program elements, and the Mass Save stays constant with a total local share of just under $100 million. Kudos to the district. Something never seemed quite right with the MSBA reimbursement. We pushed and pushed, and MSBA came back to us in January of 25 and stated that we, the district, were right, and that there was an error in the formula for their reimbursement. So they actually gave us approximately $6 million more, just because there was an error in the overall reimbursement rate. Where we are today is at the end of schematic design. We're submitting to the Mass School Building Authority next week. We have had 2 independent third-party cost estimators take a look at all of our drawings, our basis of design that tells you, what types of materials, the mechanical systems, the floor to ceiling height, the materials on the exterior of the building. 2 independent cost estimators agree that the total project cost, including construction, is approximately $152.5 million. We were able to become a little more creative and working with MSBA that our cost increased, our incentive increased from MSBA to $61 million, with the Mass Save, with our total local share of just under $90 million. So, and we're not done, and we're going to continue to look under every rock and make sure that we're making the best decisions, the most cost-effective decisions that don't impact the durability of the building or compromise the educational program. But we will have, going forward, 3 additional cost estimates as we refine the design to make sure that we are making the right decisions for the community. We have a couple of other incentives out there that we're hoping that are related to the energy or sustainability, and we'll know at the end of the month if we've been successful with those. The question then becomes, okay, we understand that the new school is going to cost the taxpayers, I'm rounding up, not a good salesperson, it should be 89,999, I'm rounding up, $90 million, right? If the project does not move forward, we did a very detailed analysis on what it would cost to maintain this building. And it's just, honestly, now I sound like a salesperson, I'm not, it's just coincidentally, it arrives at approximately $89 million. It is to replace all of your windows. You have your original windows from this building from 60 years ago, right? All of your mechanical systems, all of your flooring, everything else. And then once you trigger a certain level of repairs on a building, you're then required to bring the whole building up to code from an accessibility perspective, which is fair, right? Especially in today's day and age of making everything accessible to everyone. And then we're also required to provide fire suppression or sprinklers in this building. So all said and done, it's about $89 million, give or take. If you do nothing, and I shouldn't say do nothing, if this option isn't selected, this is the conversations that you'll be having on how to maintain this building going forward. Yes.
Building has no sprinklers.
This building has no sprinklers, correct. It's grandfathered in. They were not required when the building was built. And so you're grandfathered in until you do X amount of repairs, dollar value, 33% of the assessed value of the building. If you say put in a new boiler, right, it's going to trigger that requirement, and then you will be required to put in sprinklers. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, because I know the last time that we tried to get the building, there was some confusion about what the state would and wouldn't reimburse. Just to be, the answer that if we were just to renovate, there would be no reimbursement from the state at all.
Yeah, thank you. So the question, just for those that might not have heard, if you're faced with just doing repairs only, is there any state reimbursement or support for the work? And the answer is no. We've gone back and forth with the Mass School Building Authority. You are not improving the educational component. You're not improving the educational environment of the existing school. So they're saying, we selected you not only for your building needs, but your school is outdated from an educational perspective. So we're not going to just pour money into a building that does not support today's educational environment. So you would be doing this over many, many years, assuming, not exactly sure the phasing and the logistics of how each of these repairs would take. I imagine it's a single-story building, a lot of windows, can't get that done in a summer, right? So and the mechanical systems, so you would have to be methodical. It would either need portable classrooms, so you can move kids around and get to certain spaces, but unfortunately, a lot of the repairs aren't going to be achieved in 8 weeks over a summer.
The geothermal heating,
Yes,
and that's heating and cooling.
it is heating and cooling.
How
Yes,
is that working in the middle school? Doesn't the middle school have that?
it does. It has,
Is it
it's slightly
working okay?
different, but I can defer to Director of Operations. It's working in the middle school?
Yes, it is.
Because in the town offices in Stockbridge, it didn't work.
Right, but it was a very different context, right? That was on a riverbed in sand, and it was an open loop system, and what we're doing is a closed loop system, and thankfully, we're not on a
I'm
riverbank.
pretty sure that that's gonna work.
Yeah,
This will definitely work. It's a closed loop. As Dr. Dillon said, we're not using the water and we're not bringing everything up from the depth of the well. It's actually a closed loop system using glycol. So we're not even touching the water. Yes.
So I think this is a really exciting project. My question is regarding capacity. Someone said earlier that at some point in the school's history that it had a student body of almost 700 students. I understand that the objective is also to try and get this built and get the funding in place. But just rough math, if the current student body is 440, and if this is being built for 480 students, you're talking about, only a 10% expandable range. Given what you said earlier about the fact that your hope is to build a project that could have a life of 50 or 75 years, I'm just wondering whether it's the consensus that 10% margin will be sufficient for this community's needs for the next 50 years.
Thank you. Actually, as part of our due diligence, we thought about, and if you build it, maybe they'll come, like that would be a really great thing. That would be really great. So we've looked at different ways, and that was another one of the reasons why this option was selected over the other option that was built that would be considered in the parking lot, is that we've been very thoughtful, very deliberate about where we're placing stairs and exits. You could actually add on here 2 additional classrooms per floor. So that would be 6 additional classrooms at 20 students each, right? That would give you that opportunity. If you had other programs, it's really hard. You're not just anything. You're everything to everyone. If you wanted to expand your career tech programs, right? Your CBT programs, there's opportunities to also add larger spaces in other parts of the building. Maybe it could go here. The greenhouse is modular. Maybe the modular greenhouse could be relocated and you could put it right here with the other career tech programs, or depending on what it is, it might not be a very large space. It could be cosmetology, right? And maybe you don't need those spaces, but so we have thought about where an expansion could occur, and that would be significant. So thank you.
Interrupt real quick. Doesn't MSBA also only permit you to build a building on the scale of where you're at with kids and what the future predicts?
Yeah, so MSBA does say, they have their formula for everything, that if you're 485 students, that means you get X amount of classrooms, X amount of other spaces, and you can't build a building greater than X. But they do say, and I will say that I don't think in 20 years, that they've been around for 20 years, 2004, they started in 2004, 20 years, time flies. That their enrollment calculations, they really haven't missed too much. But what they do say is, what are your expansion opportunities? Don't just think about today, think about the 50 years in life of the building. So we have, right, strategically, you can add classrooms here, you could actually add other spaces here. And depending on what your need is, we've provided for that and thought about the interior. So you're not just ripping up classrooms, there are corridors or other areas that you could easily connect to.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat from Rachel Siegel. Can you talk about air quality in the new building? I teach there, and when wildfires happened last November, we couldn't breathe. My son in Du Bois, a newer building, was fine. I know wildfires are a part of climate change, and that is coming. Is this something that can be repaired and within the repair model?
Can the repair model improve the indoor air quality of the building? Well, you'll get new systems, but they won't be to the same level as we are providing for at the new school, right? They're replacement in kind. There's not a whole brand new system. So the answer would be, unfortunately, you would not have the same level or sophistication or improvements to your indoor environmental or air quality.
There's a question there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I think it's an exciting program that you've done too, but I'm wondering, have you already suggested that there will be a part of the building that can be used at night so that there can be adult education? Yes.
Thank you. The question was, have we considered opportunities for after-school use, whether it's for adult education or other programs? So the answer is yes. This is the main floor, the main entrance. We have parking along the front here and also in the parking lot. But our goal was that depending on the level of space that is required, this whole floor can be used without allowing access to the other floors. But we have classrooms that could be available for you depending on what it is. We have science labs that could also be used depending on what types of programs that you'd be looking for. That we could close off the other areas of the school or the other wings of the school so that it can be used in a way that, the other nice thing is that it's designed so that you don't have to heat the whole building if you just have the auditorium in use or the gym or summer programming, right? Summer school programs. They'll probably just be able to be contained to this floor, and so that you don't have to heat all of the floors. So yes, we're excited about thinking about what types of programs to make sure that we have the right technology and activities available for community use at night.
I wondered whether the consideration included the other schools that we have. We will have 3 different levels of education, and whether either of those other buildings could be used in a for adult.
Yeah, so I mean, an example is we use the middle school now for English classes for recent immigrants, right? So school happens during the day, the after-school program ends at around 5, and at 5:30, we open the building up for a couple more hours for adult English classes.
Whole building.
4 or 2, 3 classrooms, not the whole building. Yeah.
Sure.
You guys have done a beautiful job. You've obviously put a lot of work into it. I have so many questions. What is the projected enrollment for when this would be completed? And for 10 years and 20 years, assuming it all goes fine.
So I believe that the MSBA enrollment is projecting that the peak enrollment, 485 students, would occur. It was 10 years out from, I think it was 10 years out from when we started, so 5 years. I think it's 5 years, Peter, does that sound right?
Yeah, I have to look. It
Yeah.
up.
Maybe 5 years from after the school opens.
There's also an implicit assumption on their part that if we build it, they will come, that there'll be a little bump in enrollment tied to a new high quality building.
Would that be choice or merged?
I think the merge question is largely asked and answered based on 4 of the 5 towns' response.
Yeah.
Right.
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 Never change.
And so, one comment is it's beautiful. It's also still like it's a lot of money. And that's just, what's the value added from, I'm a very, very happy parent of 3 alumni. Peter knows all 3. What's the value added from the students' perspective? I mean, are they going to get higher SAT scores? I hate that as a metric. Are there more opportunities for non-college? Has that been articulated?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all the above. Yeah, I'm sorry. So the question was, what's the value added? What's the impact of this on students? And I think it's in 5 or 6 areas, and I could go on for hours about it, right? So I'll try not to. The places where things are most inadequate are science labs. So I think there are real opportunities there. The next place are the vocational or career vocational technical education opportunities. So significantly improving the spaces for 2 of the 3 programs we have, right? I don't know that the early childhood shift is as dramatic as automotive or horticulture. And then adding a 3rd program in electricity is a really big deal.
Will we be able to find electricians?
Maybe. I mean, I don't, when were you last able to get an electrician? Then I think the sustainability thing is a big piece, right? And then closely following it, and it's sad to even have to talk about it, is the safety piece, right? So I think those are the big ones. And then for kids to not have to be literally in the dark without sunlight all day, I think is also impactful. I know we've been going long, and we've got a couple more slides we wanted to go through. So let's try to do that. You've hung in, some of you, for 2+ hours. So if you're fried and you need to go, feel free. But we'll try to wrap up quickly and then answer some more questions.
So really the question is when, right? So right now, as I said, we're wrapping up our schematic design submission. Wanted to come to you all first before we submitted this to the state. The state MSBA will be voting in August to approve this and to have a project funding agreement with you. And at that point in time, we'll know the exact dollar amount that they are contributing. What we've been sharing our estimates or drafts, but we'll know for sure in August. The biggest thing is to vote. November 4th is the date that we are asking voters to support the project. As soon as we get the yes vote, I saw a few buttons around here this evening, we will dive deep and hard into what we call detailed design. We'll look at all of the finishes on the interior, the exterior, the colors. These are beautiful renderings. They look great, but we've just started. So there's so much more to it. And that will take us probably about 9 to 10 months. No, I take that back, 13 months. Sorry, Jeff. Jeff was just about to kill me. They're about 13, 14 months. And then the exciting part is actually getting into the ground, moving our first piece of dirt and doing the construction. We're anticipating the building construction will take about 24 months, 2 full years. We have developed, and happy to talk to people afterwards, developed a really safe phasing plan that will show how the new school can remain in operation. That will be about 24 months. We're anticipating the new school will open in August of 29. It will be here before we know it. And then what we'll do is we'll move all the students out, we'll get in, we'll abate, we'll demolish, and then we'll finish the site and put in the new practice field. So, oh, that's a typo. Anyway, so what's the impact, right? What grade are you in?
I just graduated 4th grade today.
Fourth.
Perfect.
Congratulations. So if you are in 5th grade or in a younger grade, you will be, the 5th grade will actually be the first class to have experienced the entire high school, the new high school for their entire high school career. So we anticipate, right? So 5th grade and younger, project's done, well done, and the school will be fully available, and that will be really 6th graders. This is for
Next year's.
6th graders, so your next year's 5th grader, right? So next year's 6th graders, right, they'll be able to really benefit, not fully, but be able to benefit. And as you can see, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, as a senior, right, the building will be complete. You'll be able to experience your senior year in the new building, and still reserve the rights to say there's a pool on the roof. I don't know if any of you ever did that to younger grades, but, right? Did anyone ever tell you that? They always told me there's a pool on the roof, right? And so you can see, so it will be here, sooner than we know. There will be a lot of excitement, a lot of engagement. We're looking forward to engaging students even at the next phase as we really start to design the school. Community benefits are when we just left, but significant community benefits, right? The school doesn't even serve the community well anymore. So significant community benefits, not to say from a safety perspective, but campus safety, traffic improvements, and really investing in your children's future and in your futures. I've talked about our key dates. We are updating the website on a regular basis. We have a QR code there, monumentbuildingproject.org. Just stay connected. We will be updating everyone as more information is unfolded. And we've talked, and you've asked questions, but does anyone have any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ellen Lar. I'm part of a separate committee called Yes Monument that's just getting started to build the community support for this project. We're different than the school building project, which is connected to the school district, the state and the SBA. We're just independent residents and people who really want to get the word out about this. And we want all of you, if you support the project, to be advocates for the project and have all of the right information and facts that you can get in order to talk to your friends and neighbors. So please say hi on your way out, and I'll give you a button and a little information. Thank you.
Any other questions or things people are wondering about?
I'd like to just go back to your question too. And unfortunately, what your kids experience or what future kids, I think, in addition to what Peter mentioned, is that that's not going to be possible going forward because we're at the end of the lifestyle. A lot of these mechanical structures that are going to trigger code upgrades, ADA, sprinkler. So if this gets voted down, we're still gonna, this building is still gonna need all those repairs. So it's gonna be, I don't know, 10, 15 years of living in a construction zone for generations of students, paying about the same price. You know, how they're gonna do it. I mean, we don't have another structure to send the kids to while we do it. So they're gonna have to be in the structure while we do it. So what we've been for the last 20 years is unfortunately not achievable for the next 20 years. I mean, at this point, something has to be done. That's why we're at this point right now, is that, you know, we can't go on, unfortunately, anymore, even if we wanted to. So, you know, one way or another, something has to be done. This, for mechanical structure, we're at the end of the line. So, it's gonna get done one way or another. You know, the building committee as a whole feels like this is our best bang for our buck, money that we're gonna have to spend. We're gonna get the biggest return on our investment. It's gonna be best for the, not just the students now, but the students 20 years from now, 30 years from now. You know, for the thousands of kids from Stockbridge, West Stockbridge, Great Barrington, that are gonna be going to the school that we're obligated to educate.
When I went to school, the boys all took shop. The girls always had classes in homekeeping skills. Do you do anything like that for the girls?
Well, I would say that both, that all the children need all those skills now. And I really think, you know, you say it in jest, but I do think that, you know, I mean, you know, it is kind of come full circle where I think, you know, it's not just college or bust, or it's, you know, it's every option is a viable option. It's, could be the best option, a great option for whatever child that is. So, you know, you know, we don't have a huge population, but we want to maximize what we offer to all of them. So we're, as a, you know, as a school committee member, we're always looking for suggestions from the student body, from teachers, from the public as to what programs they want to offer. You know, whether it's, you know, electrical, plumbing, you know, yoga, you know, I mean, the sky's the limit. So we always have an open ear, and if there's a want, there's a need, then we'll listen, and we'll if it makes sense, we'll try to do it.
Many occupations that women are in now. One of my sons is an airline pilot. There are a lot of female airline pilots that he works with.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a career that women could get into these days. But there's also women who are not airline pilots. They're mothers and husbands. And they used to learn skills like sewing and whatever.
We encourage women, being in the trades and being in the construction. Like, our goal is to get more women, in our industry, right? So, anyway, I know we have one online, and then we can take this gentleman here.
I have one with a hand raised who we can let speak, and I also have a question, whichever you would like to do first.
The question's sort of for Ellen, so just.
There's another one now, which
Okay.
Ellen, you answered about lawn signs, thank you. And then, does your cost comparison communicate operating cost savings in the new model versus repair?
Oh, thank you. We did not go that far when we were looking at the cost comparisons. This is construction only. You could say that with the new school being as energy efficient as possible, with the possibility of having solar incorporated, depending on how much solar, it could actually even help reduce your operating costs, where your operating costs would remain the same with the existing building.
And then we have Sharon Shallow with her hand raised, so if Brian can take her off.
Brian, did you hear that? We have a guy behind the curtain who's kind of managing all this.
Can you hear me? My name's Sharon.
Yes, Sharon, go ahead.
Hi, I want to go back to somebody's question. I'm very concerned about the capacity question. It seems as if, I mean, the school's beautiful, the designs are lovely, and I'm sure you're all very excited. It seems way too big for our district. And you talk about a current high school population, but how many of those are in-district students? And how much of this school is being built for the current, and I would consider it unsustainable model of bringing in a large number of choice students?
Yeah, so the question that Sharon
Just the
asked,
basic question is, how many of our current high school students are Berkshire Hills district students? That's
well,
my, that's
yeah,
my base.
and I want to confirm it because I don't have the numbers right in front of me and I might miss it by 10 or so. But somebody else I was talking to before the meeting suggested the number of in-district high school students is 290 or 300. And then the balance would be 60 tuition students, and those are from agreements with the
Right, but we know they're not a good agreements, but
Oh,
so
well, I
yes,
mean,
60
I don't.
tuition and the rest choice. So our in-district
Would you give me a sec
is
to
about
answer?
25% less than the capacity.
Sharon, if you give me a sec, I'm happy to try to answer, okay? So 290, 300 are in-district students, 60 students are tuition students from Otis, Sandusfield, and Richmond. I would disagree with you that that agreement is not good. We made significant progress over the years on that, and then the balance of the students are choice students, and that's at a rate for general ed or typical students that's problematic. That's a rate set by the state, and that amount hasn't been changed since 1992.
Was that all done?
Yep.
Awesome. So the gentleman with the bait cat, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, so.
That's okay.
What is the plan for communicating to the towns? How that estimated cost will flow through to any tax bill?
Yeah, so what we're working on now, and we should have this soon. So some subset of the building or school committee is going to meet with each town's select board and finance committees. So that's coming up. I actually think Great Barrington's next week, maybe a week from today. We're also working on a calculator, which will help residents in each of the three towns look up the assessed value of their own property and then put in the assessed value, and then they'll get the annual tax impact of the project on that. There's still a few moving pieces, so we're waiting to hear about a really significant grant connected to the ground source heat pumps, and that would move the needle dramatically, maybe as much as $5 million. But we're working on the calculator now. We talked to a web designer who's helping us do that. We've got some basic assumptions around the term of the bond and the interest rates, and we hope to roll that out shortly.
A July thing, a June thing, an August thing, what's the expectation?
I'd like to set a reasonable expectation and then exceed it. So why don't I say August? But maybe it'll be a little earlier.
Haven't we just paid off the middle school?
We did retire the debt on the existing buildings. Now, I didn't time it perfectly. The best thing would be I was retiring it this year, and then we could just move it over. So there'll be a little time where we're not paying that debt. We did, or the towns at our urging, or the school committee's urging, did put a little money in a stabilization fund, which we'll be able to access to help mitigate some of the costs. It's not a huge amount of money. It's $500,000 or something. So that's where we're going. Yeah.
So I just wanted to confirm my understanding. In the model that you showed earlier, there was less than $1 million difference between the cost of this new school as proposed and estimates regarding repairs to the current school. And as I'm looking at it, it seems like the biggest risk is the opportunity cost of the $61 million of state funding. I mean, when you look at that delta, I mean, that kind of dwarfs, you know, some of these other figures that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that, right? And
Yes.
and then I think the other thing is the duration of the phasing of trying to bring a 60-year-old building back up to code while it's in use actively with students and staff, right? That living through a 10 or 15-year renovation project would be a nightmare, right?
Inflation.
Right.
Well, that too, right? But like I worked in a school and in New York a while ago, and we replaced the science labs and closed off a corridor with 6 classrooms for the better part of a year, and they worked at night with plastic up, and then at 4 in the morning they came in and tried to wipe up all the dust so we could go on with our day. That was terrible. Right? And that was 6 classrooms for 1 year. And in that one, we got a lot of work done in the summer before and the summer after. So, I mean, the weak alternative would almost be untenable.
So.
Victoria?
Sorry.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat and a hand raised. I'll read the question first from Suzanne Belibus. I'm very supportive of the new school and I see its need, and I would like to know what to expect as a homeowner. What is the proposed plan for how our community will finance our share of the investment in the new school? How much should be expected to cost for each household and over how many years?
Okay, so Suzanne's question, just to repeat it because I'm close to the thing, is what's the plan for how the community would finance it? And how much should we expect it to cost each household and over how many years? So likely over 30 years, that's our assumptions for the bond. How much it'll cost each household depends almost entirely on the assessed value of your household. And that's why I was talking about the impact calculator. So we'll get that to you soon, and we'll be able to, you'll be able to calculate the impact on your own home and your own taxes.
Question over here.
Yeah, I just first of all would like to thank you all for all the work you're doing, the specificity, and frankly, the persuasion, because seeing the facts laid out, I don't think there's room for any answer, but you know, Bill has his plan. My question is actually about how to get disinformation out, how to really
I agree.
make this not just accessible, but almost unavoidable to the voters of Berkshire County, who specifically by November for us in here, but I feel like even enlisting the student body, this is a great project. Shoot videos of all the different pieces of evidence, why this is so necessary. Because when you see the labs and you see the outlets right by the sink, and they're not GFI, and the sinks are like this big, I'm like, and the tile is asbestos, I mean, all these points, and no sprinklers, which to Ellie's point earlier, it's like, that's really unthinkable. Grandfathered in, what kind of grandfather would want to know? For the children, it's like, it's not safe, it's not safe. So, you know, my thinking is, getting the word out through social media. You've got a student body who is no doubt incredibly savvy, and get people to just be aware. I mean, pull the old New England out. I don't want to spend that money. Let that person know, hey, it's going to cost just as much, but it's going to be massively disruptive if we have to be working on the building as we're trying to use it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think it's really well said. Steve Boyd's here. He's on the building committee and has some other roles. Do you want to respond to that?
Just really quickly say, so yes, Steve Boyd, school building committee. I'm also a community member and a lawyer. I have a contract design
build and launch services company in the biomedical device space. We employ about 80 people, and I cannot hire technicians in the chemical, mechanical, engineering space that are qualified, that I don't have to spend a tremendous amount of training on. And so I just want to address Sharon's question. With Sharon, we can talk about this more later, but aside from the fact that I don't want to live in a community that doesn't bring in choice students and neighboring community kids, even if we did build just insular for ourselves, we need the CTE programs and the innovation pathways in order to continue to sustain our workforce. We absolutely need it, and those spaces are more expensive. For those of you who want to build a vocational school that is nothing but vocation, I'd love to also. I plan on it. It's gonna be $220 million, because you need high bays and you need safety parameters, and you need a lot of things to run a space like that. So it is very dire when you look at the alternatives. I agree with you completely. Please see my colleague, Ellen, when you leave, because everything that you're saying is true. We need to get this word out, really by talking to our neighbors and having little huddle ups and chatting. These guys can't do that because they're employed by the state, right? And so there's campaign finance and public finance laws that prevent them from outright campaigning for this. They can lay out all the facts, which start to speak for themselves, right? But they can't go door to door and hustle up everybody to really get the word out. So this is just, I want to second what Ellen said and say, we need your help. Because videos, storytelling, and all of the testimonials, they just take a lot of work and heavy lifting. And so we desperately need this community to understand that we're in a tough spot if we don't do this. And I don't want to go tell that bad, dystopic story, but we are. We really are in a situation where we need this. We absolutely need this. It's a really critical time for us to make a good decision. And it's about thousands of students who will go through here, not 420 versus 408. It's thousands of students, and it's our community. And I've made a career out betting on myself and this community, and I hope that you all would do the same, right? That's why we're here. Let's bet on ourselves. And so see Ellen, give me your name. We'll find little ways for you to have all the details and all the facts that you need, just to have 6 friends over for coffee and tell them about it, so that we can get to a place in November that people really understand what you quickly have picked up on, which is that it's a really bad alternative. There is no alternative. Every other alternative is worse.
And I really appreciate that everybody came here tonight, but one of the things that's very clear to us is we can't sort of wait and expect for people to come here, but we have to get out to people. And if that's the senior center or a restaurant or a bar or somebody who's having an ice cream shop, or I'm big on pie. I really like strawberry rhubarb pie. Yeah. Somebody wants to have a pie and we could cut up the pie and talk about it. Like, I'm happy to do that. And soccer games and picnics and the VFW concerts, other things. So we'll work really hard on that. I know this is, like, we tried really hard to have a tight meeting, and we went a little long, and I'm sorry about that. I think there's one more question online, and then we'll wrap up.
Eileen Mooney has her hand up, so we can unmute her.
Yeah, Brian, can you unmute Eileen? Okay, Eileen, go ahead.
Okay. Has the cost of removing the high school when a new school is finished, is that included in the costs that were presented tonight?
Yeah, everything's built in, including not just removing the school, but turning the site of the former school into a athletic field.
It is in the price.
It is in the project.
Yeah, it's in the total cost.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Where will we sled?
Part of the hill and East Street. That's the only discernible disadvantage I could come up with was some of the sledding.
Half the hill will still be there.
Yeah.
So, it'll be safer,
yeah.
less of an insurance risk for.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I really appreciate it.